because I know that's what we're going to do here in Bexar County. Let me get started real quick, and then we're going to hear from the man of the hour. I'm Monica Alcantara. I'm the chairwoman of the Bexar County Democratic Party. It is so nice to be here with all of you. And I have some of your amazing candidates and electeds who are here with us this evening as well. So I'm just gonna run through who's here. We're gonna hear from a few of them, and then we're gonna hear from Beto himself. So I have with me a gentleman who has been working tirelessly night and day, who has been fighting the fight in Uvalde and all the way to the legislature, and that is our Senator Roland Gutierrez, who's here with us. We have our Commissioner Tommy Calvert, who does an amazing job in District 4. Commissioner Calvert. We have Judge Mary Lou Alvarez that's in the house with us here. I have candidate who's running for Representative Josie Garcia in the house. We also have the voices of the veterans who's with us, Stephen Price. We have Farrell Clark with Reliable Revolutionary. Where's Farrell Clark? There's also a gentleman who's here with us this evening, whom you're going to hear from, who's been championing the coordinated campaign throughout Bexar County, who's been helping me ensure that we're out paving that field and turning out voters. Let me tell you, we are working and making sure that we are hitting over 900 doors a day, but we need volunteers. We need your help. Beto needs you. So if you have, even if it's an hour, let me tell you, Beto's team can use you. I can use you. So if you want to come out and help, you can go to the Bexar County Democratic Party. We'd love to have you. Let's hit that field on the 22nd. We're going to have a huge rally at Representative Trey Martinez Fisher's house, and we're going to show him he shouldn't have opened those doors, because we're all going to be there. We're all going to get to work. So I welcome you on the 22nd. Look for that date. But right now, I have with us one of our champions, Senator Jose Menendez, who's been doing the fight here in Bexar County all the way up to Washington. So, Senator.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everybody. Look, I want you to look to your left, look to your right. Look to the faces of the people who are here. I want you to think for a second about everyone who couldn't be here. You're representing them. And when you look into the face of that little girl in her pretty glasses, or that baby over there, or that little girl on her dad's shoulders, I want you to think about everyone that you're representing that can't be here today. My 86-year-old mom, my 2-year-old granddaughter. Think about all the people you love. And that's why we're here. And that's why we have to make Beto the next governor. Folks, if poll after poll is driving you crazy, like a seesaw, up and down, whatever, let me tell you, folks, there's only one poll that matters, and that's called Election Day. That's the only one that matters. Let me tell you, folks, they're not calling most of y'all. They're not calling me. Tommy, did they call you? No, they didn't call you, Representative, right? No, they didn't call most of us. Folks, they're not counting on all of the people who've been sick and tired of the same old story from the same old people. We're gonna win. He's gonna win. Because never again are we gonna let hundreds of Texans die because of a storm, because of a winter storm. Never again. Beto, my good friend who's been doing an amazing job in Uvalde, Senator Gutierrez, Roland Gutierrez, he needs Beto there to help those families get the support and the help that they need. They're stalling on so much of the aid that they need to give them. They're not getting it. They promised it to them. They said it's theirs. They shouldn't have to be begging. We're sick and tired of people treating people like second-class citizens. And I'll tell you what, for everyone in this room who is a woman or loves a woman or knows someone, I think you better be mad as hell. that there are people in this state, elected officials, who think that it's okay for them to be second-class citizens with second-class rights. Hell no is right. You were right about falling off this thing. Yeah.
No, don't fall.
Folks, I am sick and tired of hearing about how Texas is such a great miracle when 25% of the population of our children are uninsured. And you know, it's so bad that they're having to take their kids to the emergency room for their medical home. And you know how easy it would be to change it? What Beto's been talking about all along, expanding Medicaid, bringing... What I don't understand, that if we expand Medicaid, we bring our tax dollars back to Texas. I don't get the problem. Folks, there are so many reasons to make sure Beto's the next governor. But here's what I want to tell you. The next time one of those stupid ads pop up with all the lies they're saying about Beto, figure out how to mute it or switch the channel or do something. And next time you talk to someone and they tell you some stupid lie they heard or read or something on that news or whatever, you tell them, you know what, you can't believe everything you hear. Let me tell you the truth. You know why? Because you came here and you heard the truth from the man himself. There's an article in today's paper talking about Abbott 3 years ago signed a bill to make it so that kids could not buy cigarettes till they're 21. But he won't commit to raising the age to raise it for them to buy an assault weapon. I hope to God, I know you're the choir, I know y'all are the choir, but I want you individually to commit to get 9, 10 other people to make sure you watch them vote. You take them to vote early. Early voting starts October 24th, right? Yeah. Folks, by election day, 65% of the votes will have been cast. Make sure yours and your friends and your families are the ones that are going to be counted that night. Folks, help me welcome the next governor of the state of Texas, Beto O'Rourke.
San Antonio, how we doing? Good to be with you. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much for welcoming us so warmly, as you always do. Special thanks to Alejandro Escobedo for providing the music, the inspiration, one of our all-time heroes. The fact that he's here is so important to us. Welcomed us to Johnson City at the very beginning of this campaign, back again here at San Antonio at the end. Thank you, brother, for being here. It means the world to us. Senator Menendez, fighting the fight for every single one of us, not just here in San Antonio, but across the state of Texas. When this governor and the Republican majority state legislature tried to take away your right to vote, he did everything that he could to be a watchdog for democracy, to stand up for each and every single one of us, regardless for who it is we may want to vote. No me importa, Republican, Democrat, Independent. He just wants to make sure that this democracy, that our Constitution is honored. And I tell you what, when we win this thing, he's going to have a partner in the governor's office who's going to make sure that it does. I want to thank him for being here. All of these 8 great elected leaders who make us so proud. Again, not just here in San Antonio, but throughout the state of Texas. Let me begin with something as we come to the end of this campaign. We've been out here for the better part of a year. We started around this time last year, right out of El Paso, traveling the state day in, day out, so many times here in Bexar County, in San Antonio, with so many of you. And very often we have to talk about, you know, what we're against and who's doing us wrong. But let me just begin by saying why we're here and why we do what we do and who we are for in the beginning. We are for children. And as the senator said, those kids who are too young to vote, they don't get a voice in this election except through the actions that we take right now at this defining moment of truth. Amy and I have 3 kids in El Paso. They're 15, 14, 11 years old. Their eyes are upon us right now, watching what we do, to see if we really come through given the challenges that we face, and knowing as compromised as the right to vote is in the state of Texas, we're still a democracy, government of, by, and for the people. And we are the people who decide the outcome of this election and every issue on the ballot. But let me tell you about these kids in Texas. We lead the nation in diabetes deaths among children. We're in the least insured state in America, and they are the ones who pay the price more than anyone else. And you know what? 102 years after insulin was invented, a substance that costs almost nothing to actually produce, it is absolutely unconscionable and unforgivable that the most vulnerable among us continue to pay the price. That's why, working with Senators Gutierrez and Menendez, we are going to expand Medicaid, bring $10 billion back of our federal income taxes, connect every child in Texas with the care that will literally save their lives. We're going to reduce your property taxes in the balance because you're no longer on the hook for uncompensated indigent health care. It'll create 300,000 jobs a year. It is just too good to be true. All of our border states, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, 3 with Republican governors, have taken the deal on the table to expand Medicaid. We are the outlier. And the thing I don't understand is we actually invented the program in the first place. 1965, the first president from the state of Texas, Lyndon Baines Johnson, signs the Medicaid Act into law to make sure that no one is too poor or unlucky to be connected to health care that ensures that they are well enough to pursue their potential in this state or any other. We are turning our back on our legacy and our destiny, and those kids who are our future are watching us right now, and we've got to come through. And speaking of them, 7 years ago, all of us, through a federal judge named Janice Jack, including all of us, our governor, were warned that the foster care system and child protective services was one of the worst run in the United States of America. 32,000 kids in that program. And Janice Jack said 7 years ago that those children come out of that program more damaged than when they first went in. Well, January of this year, she had an update for us. And she said that program I warned you about 7 years ago, it is even worse today than it was then. 100 Texas children have lost their lives in CPS custody and care just since the year of our Lord, 2020. Hundreds more have been trafficked, have been abused, have been violated, and have been raped. Now, this governor has known about this problem all along. So when you hear him talking about life and about heartbeats, ask him about the lives and the heartbeats of those kids in CPS. And let's make sure that we fix this program when we win. Now, someone that I have always admired is Senator Roland Gutierrez. But never more than in the last 20 weeks following that awful slaughter in Uvalde, where 19 children and 2 teachers had no chance against someone who at the age of 18 could buy not 1, but 2 AR-15s and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. And bring that weapon that was originally designed for use in the Vietnam War to take an enemy soldier down at 500 yards, to penetrate that steel helmet and make sure that when he was knocked down, he stayed down dead. Doctors talk about it pulverizing the soft tissue inside of your body when it hits. Just ask some of those parents who could only identify the bodies of their children by the shoes that they were wearing. But those kids were also defenseless against a governor who, after 5 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history, which have taken place in this state over the last 5 years, has done nothing but make it easier for those who should not have firearms in the first place to carry them openly on our streets, more beholden to the NRA than he is to the lives of our children. You need to know this, and we must share this with our friends and family, our neighbors, our classmates, our colleagues, everyone Senator Menendez said who is not in this room right now. That person who wonders, is this election really going to matter? What's the difference between the two? Or I've always voted for Abbott before, and I know he's not perfect, but I'm thinking about voting for him again. Tell them this. We now lead the nation in the number of school shootings. More take place here in Texas than anywhere else in America. And as of today, gun violence is the leading cause of death for children and teenagers. But it does not have to be our fortune or our future or our fate. I have traveled this state. I've listened to everyone who will spend time with me, including those who will never cast a ballot for me. And on this much, there is common ground. A universal background check that just says if you buy a firearm in the state of Texas, we're going to make sure that you're not going to use it against yourself or against anybody in your life or in our lives. A red flag law that says if you already have that gun and are threatening to use it, we can, through due process, intervene before it is too late. And then this, raising the age of purchase from 18 to 21 for an AR-15, an AK-47, these weapons originally designed for war. Look, that might not be the perfect solution for any of us, but it will save lives. The Republican governor in Florida took just 23 days to raise the age from 18 to 21. Mass shootings in that state have declined by 80% since then. It has been 20 weeks and this governor has done nothing, so it's time for us to do something. We vote him out, win this election on the 8th of November, and prioritize our kids over the NRA. Thinking about those two teachers that we lost in Uvalde makes me think about all the educators who are in this room with us right now. Classroom teachers, counselors, librarians. Who knew that librarians would be the heroes of 2022? But they are. They're standing up for freedom. And they're standing up for all of us. And they're standing up against a governor who continues to vilify and demonize and attack those who are in these extraordinarily important positions, who day in and day out sacrifice to deliver for those kids, very often working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. And I guarantee you, those Halloween decorations that are up in the classroom right now were paid for out of the pockets of those educators. That kid who shows up to class unprepared without a notebook or pens or paper, out of her own pocket, she'll buy the supplies. The one who has that free and reduced breakfast and lunch, but does not have a warm meal to go home to at the end of the day, again, she buys that. She buys a new set of clothes for the kid who shows up in the same dirty pair of jeans, same dirty t-shirt, probably same dirty pair of chones underneath, but she wants him to be able to hold his head high on Monday, so over the weekend she buys him a new set of clothes as well. What if we treated her and every educator out there with the dignity and respect that they deserve, that they are owed, and that they have earned? What if we pay them enough so they only work one job, focusing on those kids in front of them in that classroom? What if for every retired teacher, there's a cost of living adjustment every year going forward? Because it's been 18 years since we last had one. And what if we allowed you more valuable classroom time to connect with that child, to unlock their lifelong love of learning by canceling the STAR test in the state of Texas, so you could focus on what is most important to you and to them? We can do it. We are for the women of this state. We're for the girls of this state. We're for ensuring that every single one can make their own decisions about their own body, their own future, and their own health care. And look, I know it can seem daunting in a state whose governor signed the most extreme total abortion ban on the books anywhere in America. It begins at conception. There is no exception for rape. There is no exception for incest. It is taking place in the epicenter of a maternal mortality crisis that is 3 times as deadly for black women in the state of Texas. You may say, hey, how in the hell are we going to overcome this? I tell you what, 50 years ago, abortion was just as illegal in the state of Texas as it is today. And no one came from outside of the state to ride to the rescue of Texas women. In fact, it was Texas women like Jane Roe and her two attorneys, Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey, who prevailed upon an all-male United States Supreme Court in 1973 to win the right for protection to privacy, to make very personal and often very painful decisions without government intrusion or interference. That reproductive health care freedom was won by Texas women 49 years ago. It will be won back by Texas women on November 8th of this year. We're gonna get it done. Who are we for? We are for the veteran. That woman, that man who put their lives on the line for this country, willing to lose it so that none of us would have to, who comes back to San Antonio and has a hard time getting connected to the care that could literally save their lives. Too many of them in the 9th largest economy on the planet, sleeping on the side of the road tonight, underneath a bridge, on a park bench. I promise you this, when we win this election, we will spare no expense. We will bear any burden to make sure every veteran has a roof over their head, is connected to the care that they need, are allowed to get on with their lives. And for those who come back, Stephen, and say, look, I went to the VA and they were all too ready to prescribe me an opioid to which I may become addicted, from which I may die. And there's this other thing that I can use in Texas, Beto, maybe you've heard of it. It restores my appetite, it allows me to sleep, it alleviates my symptoms. I'm a criminal in the eyes of the law. We're gonna legalize marijuana in the state of Texas going forward. And given the fact that Texans of all races, of all ethnicities, of all backgrounds use the substance at the same rate, but disproportionately black and brown Texans are stopped by police, are frisked, are arrested, are incarcerated, are upon release forced to check a box on every employment application form going forward, making it less likely that they get the job. We're going to expunge the arrest records for anyone convicted for possession of marijuana in the state of Texas, and we're going to do that together. We are for the victims of crime. And I think it's really important to say this. Violent crime is on the rise in the state of Texas. And look, Greg Abbott will try to blame anybody else except for himself. But remember, this guy's been the governor for 8 years. His party controls every single lever of power in our state government. And it has nothing to do with Joe Biden. It has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. It has nothing to do with anybody else that he might want to blame. When law enforcement, including right here in San Antonio, begged him not to sign permitless carry into law because we had a license to carry program on the books and it said, look, you want to carry a gun in public in Texas? That's all right as long as we can do a background check, some due diligence, you have some training so you're proficient in that firearm before you take it out on the streets, then we'll all be a little bit safer. But he turned his back on those cops who said, over the last 6 years, 38,000 times, we denied a license to carry to somebody in Texas because they were just too dangerous to those around them. Texas women, for example, are 24% more likely to be shot by a domestic partner than anyone else in America. And those cops, those sheriff's deputies, wanted to make sure that we protect their lives. He turned his back on them, looked right at the NRA, signed permitless carry into law. Homicides are now up 50% in the state of Texas as a result. And listen to this. The governor who, upon signing the most extreme abortion ban in America, and asked by a member of the press, Mr. Governor, what are you going to do about cases of rape? Because there's no exception for that in your bill. He said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to eliminate rape in the state of Texas. More rapes have occurred in this state than any of the other 49 in America. The ability to bring a perpetrator to justice has declined by half since he's been governor. And right now, as we speak, there are thousands of untested rape kits at DPS headquarters in Austin, Texas. When we win, we're going to take violent crime seriously. We're going to bring down that murder rate. We're going to bring down the rate of rape. We're going to test every one of those rape kits and bring the perpetrators to justice. We will reduce violent crime in the state of Texas. But to do all of this, I'm gonna need your help because we're gonna have to get past the person who is keeping us from achieving these big ideas. World-class public education, the ability to see a doctor through expanded Medicaid, ensuring that we have the best jobs created in America right here in Texas because we raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. We ensure that unions have the right to organize in this state. And those who may not want to go to college and may want to earn a trade, I want to make sure that whether it's the pipe fitters or the electricians or the steel workers or whatever trade in Texas, that you have the right to earn while you learn. But to do any of those things, we're gonna have to get past the worst governor in the United States of America today, Greg Abbott, okay? So this is where we all come in together. It will not be won by the candidate or by the party or even these extraordinary public officials that you see with us. Monica and the Bexar County Democrats are just absolutely killing it. New voter registrations, voter contact, voter turnout efforts, block walking, the real grassroots that wins elections. That's what's happening right here. But we're gonna need your help to get that done. Check this out. 2020, most important presidential election, arguably, in our lifetimes, and more than 370,000 eligible voters in Bexar County did not cast a ballot. 370,000. Since then, another 117,000 new voters have entered the rolls. Young people who've just turned 18, new naturalized citizens. We're closing in on 500,000 voters that we have yet to hear from, whose votes have yet to be counted. And to put that in perspective, in 2018, when we all ran that race together for the United States Senate, we were only 216,000 votes down from Ted Cruz at the end of the night. I'm telling you, there are nearly 500,000 uncounted votes in Bexar County, but I need your help signing up with one of our volunteers in the reflective yellow vests who are around this room right now. On those clipboards, they have open shifts to knock on doors, to meet voters where they are, and to bring them into this election. That voter suppression and voter intimidation that these senators fought against, it is targeting people in this community, communities of color, the very young, the poor, the elderly, and those with disabilities in Bexar County and across the state of Texas. We must bring them in and make them the margin of victory on election night. You all with me? You all ready to do the work to get it done? Well, we are going to get it done. And we have to count ourselves lucky that we have the chance to stand and fight for everything that matters to us. It is all on the ballot, all on the line in this election. And you and I, all of us together, are the ones who are going to win it. So thank you for being with us tonight. We're going to hang out for a little while. Please sign up with the folks in yellow. Les agradezco y nos vemos la próxima vez. Thank you, San Antonio. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. Hello.